What's the strangest or funniest thing you ever did as a child? I grew up on a farm. I used to get up and run around in the cornfields at night, around 6 years old, until they started locking me into my room. Motherfucker, you'd be the reason half those scary ass horror movie situations start. Everyone's looking for you out in creepy cornfields, and then the scarecrow comes alive. Push every fire and emergency button I could find. Train station? Yep. Shows? Yep. And even fire doors when I found them. This is hilarious. It's any wonder you didn't get left on the side of the road at some point. I set up this stupid trick where I planned to push a fire door in my school's locker room, only to find out that it was disabled a week later. Those giant black bumblebees. I used to tie their legs with my sister on her friend's hair if they napped by the pool. When they woke up, they'd have this bumblebee flying around them on a leash and freak out like mad. I got in so much trouble every time, but it was so funny, it was worth it to do again and again. When I was 3, my aunt and uncle took me to McDonald's for the first time. As they were at the counter ordering, I noticed a man who was leaving throw away some French fries on his way out. I apparently thought that looked pretty good, so I went over to the trash can, stuck my little arm in, and grabbed the fries and started eating them. When my aunt and uncle noticed, they made sure to loudly announce to the horrified onlookers that I wasn't their kid. I shit my pants, underwear, at a family friend's house and hid the evidence behind a radiator. They found it a few days later. When I was around 5 years old, my mom, heavily pregnant at the time, and I went to Walmart. Since she couldn't carry the bags and I was, well, a preschooler, and we don't have a car, we decided to go home by taxi. Now imagine this scene. It's summer, it's 1 in the afternoon, and you have a taxi with A, a grumpy taxi driver, B, a pregnant woman, and C, a little girl who isn't used to being in a car. The little girl is dizzy, she has diarrhea, she wants to throw up. Taxi arrives, but this is a two-way street and it parks on the wrong side. So what does tiny little quenchy cactus juice do? Of course, she decides to open the door that is leading to a big street full of cars and run in between the traffic to go poop, puke, or both. Mom grabs me just in time before an 18-wheeler smashes the open door. I think the driver was so embarrassed that he didn't even want to accept payment. Strangest. I was at a restaurant when I was about 4 and a couple walked by with an infant in a car seat. I stood up in my chair and loudly asked, "Can I pet your baby?" Funniest. When I was about the same age, my grandma was eating yogurt and dropped her spoonful onto the floor. Naturally, she said, "Shit." To which I replied, "That's not shit, it's yogurt." My second contender is a little longer. I was potty training, and at the time my dad worked from home. We were about an hour into me saying "Daddy poo-poo" and him taking me to the toilet only for nothing to happen. Eventually he stopped taking me seriously and continued to work. I had a lot of library books. I also needed to poop. In my mind, these two things were the perfect combination. About 10 minutes later, I walked into my dad's office. He's immediately put off by the smell of shit before hearing one last ominous "Daddy, poo-poo." When he turns around, he is greeted with his sweet little daughter holding a library book above her head like a waitress, the cover adorned with a perfect pile of poo. I'm sure this was less theatric when it happened, but the way he tells it is magical, and he tells it a lot. When I get mad at my mom, I would call her by her name. Pour milk into the fish tank so the fish could have strong bones and muscles like me. I have a vague memory of when I was 5, I think, and I was walking along the road when I come across a dead hedgehog. It was quite dead and probably carrying about 9 diseases, but when I found it, I proceeded to pick it up and bring it to the forest, where I then rubbed the rotten guts of this poor hedgehog all over my chest and torso area. Yeah, my parents were pretty confused when their son came home with black, stinky juice all over his chest. Apparently, I missed the building of my last house while people were working. My grandma was recording for memories, and little me decided it was the perfect time to take the biggest shit my poor Momo has ever seen on the lawn. She got it on tape too. I also ate an alarming amount of sand, dirt, and coins. Edit. I have a lot more, so I thought I might as well add two more. I learned to ride my bike the same day I learned to ride a dirt bike. 7 year old me just wanted to ride the dirt bike, but my father said I had to learn to ride a bike first. One time I wandered off my grandpa's property when we were visiting because I saw people setting a nearby field on fire to get it ready for something I don't remember. I asked to help and they let me. My mom later found me there and there's a photo somewhere of me. I think I was 5 or 7 years old. Have a nice day, fellow Redditors. When I was 4, my mother brought me and my sister to church. We were obviously late seeing she was a single mother. My mom being super flustered, trying to keep her cool, getting us out of the car, completely stressed out, hurries up the stairs to the front doors. She walks us in the doors, but it had already started and completely quiet. Behind the priest was a giant statue of Jesus hanging on the cross. I, in my unwitting yet loud child voice, say, "Mom, is that God damn it?" She just does an about face, both kids in tow, never to return again. When I was about 9 or 10, my mom made me and my siblings go to church on Sundays. She didn't go. The church bus would come by and pick us up. We'd have a kids' Sunday school thing in the basement, then the main service in the main church area. I hated it. Me and my friend would hide out under the stairs and just shoot the shit, see who could speed the farthest, whatever we could think of doing for a couple hours until it was time to get back on the bus to go home. One time he didn't come to church, so I hid under the stairs by myself. I must have lost track of time because when I finally came out, church was over and the bus was gone. I wandered around the church halfways for a bit until the guy who coordinated the bus riders found me. They thought I got kidnapped or something. Police were called and everything. He drove me home and my mom beat the shit out of me. The 70s. My sister went to see male strippers. Not sure if it was a club or a party. She took photos, which I promptly stole and took to share with my third grade class. Looking back, it was pretty tame, just buff dudes and speedos. I got in trouble at school and my mom was very stern when she came to get me. But my real punishment was my family teasing me about it well into my 20s. One time in preschool, the teacher said that tomorrow the local bishop was coming to visit, so we had to be on our best behavior because he is a very special person, and it'd be too hard to explain why a bishop is important to preschoolers. So I raise my hand and say, well, I'm pretty special and I'm here every day. Clearly heard that my peers were not on their best behavior for me. I tried to make a scary sign on the wall with Play-Doh saying you will die with a finger pointing towards whoever was stood in front of it. Needless to say, my sister took a picture of it at the same time and sent it to me years later only for me to find out that had actually constructed what looked like an enormous dick coming out of the wall. Destroy 2 VCRs by cramming peanut butter and jelly sandwiches into them because I thought Ariel and Pocahontas were hungry during their adventures. How considerate of you!